Hey everybody, these tape tips were originally recorded for YouTube, so occasionally an episode may have a few moments that are better suited for watching rather than just listening. The link to the YouTube video is in the show notes, and if you're on Spotify, you can choose to watch the video right there. Thanks. Question: Are you or do you know someone who is the type of climber who seems to just send everything they try without ever training? Or do you know someone who trains constantly but rarely has any big sins to show for it? Or is that you? I suspect that a lot of you are shaking your head yes, and that you know both types of climber. And both are putting in high effort, but getting different results. Why? Well, most of us recognize that trying harder, or at least trying at a level more appropriate for your specific goal, is generally a good thing. But there are a lot of places and times to apply that effort. And when it comes to that, we all fit into one of three categories. And each category has its upsides and its downsides. However, nearly all of the best climbers fit into the same category. They may not have started there, but at some point they found their way in and they stayed. And frankly, it's really the only way to get anywhere near your potential in climbing. In this video, we're going to look at those three categories, the pros and cons of each, as well as the psychological traps inherent to each of them, and how we can, over time, move ourselves into the one category that's nearly always better than the others. Let's get into it. Now, recently, I made a 1-hour video series about how we can learn to try harder, what we can do off the wall, as well as how to regulate the effort on the wall, psychological advice, and physical tools. It's called the Try Harder Toolkit. It's absolutely free, and you can find the link in the description.
When it's more extensive, the more intense breath, when the climbing becomes more intensive, and then the way that it varies when the climbing varies. And when the rest on the jug begins, you can see the breath get gradually quieter and slower, but all the while.
But while making it, I was largely talking about the tools that we can use to add more effort into our performances on the wall. But that isn't the full story of effort. It's not how all climbers engage with trying harder. Instead, how and when we apply effort falls into three categories. Number one, you put most of your effort into your preparation. Number two, you put most of your effort into your performance. And number three, you've figured out how to apply an appropriate amount of effort to both. Now, I guess there's a fourth category that really doesn't put effort anywhere. And if that's you, well, more power to you, but you're definitely looking for a different YouTube channel. Now, let's start with the first type, putting all of your effort into preparation. When I started Power Company climbing, it was difficult to get climbers to train. Now it's all the rage. More than ever before, climbers are spending a large portion of their time trying to intentionally improve. And that's a fantastic thing. It used to be that climbers would argue, well, Chris Sharma doesn't train. And then I'd have to counter with something like, well, number one, what Chris Sharma does while climbing actually does fit nicely into the basic framework of training. He just happens to do it outside on real rock because he has that kind of time. Number two, you're falling into the absence of evidence fallacy. I'll let you Google that. And number three, you aren't Chris Sharma. But today, I have to convince people that they don't need to train so much. My, how times have changed. Anyway, like I said, it's a good thing. There are a number of reasons to prepare like this. Good preparation leads to confidence. Confidence leads to success. And more often than not, good preparation means building good habits and a more resilient body overall, not only for climbing, but for general health. And that's a big win. Confidence, success, and resiliency in one area of life easily translates to other areas of life. Seeing preparation pay off in one vocation means you're more likely to prepare for other goals. But it's not all roses. I see a lot of climbers fall into one of three traps. First, training and preparation become the goal. Finger strength numbers, a bigger deadlift, whatever. And if that makes you happy, then fine. But don't make the mistake of thinking that any of these things means you've improved at climbing. Next, the lines start to blur between training and performance. And this one is tough because the two often look very similar. The difference comes down to mindset. But if you start celebrating the training wins as if they're the same as performance wins, you're bound to let your guard down and fail at the actual performance. There's a reason that no sport allows records set in practice, because they aren't the same. If outdoor climbing is the goal, then you didn't do your first V6 if you did it in the gym. You just didn't. That's not your performance space. Sure, you can take that confidence earned from your training win into your performance, and you should. But if you've let yourself believe that you've already reached your goal, are you going to show up under your actual project with the same ferocity? It's unlikely. And finally, the people who put all of their effort into preparation often expect the performance to come easy because they've prepared. If your short-term goal hasn't ever changed, then maybe the performance will feel easy. But if you want to improve and keep trying hard things, then it won't ever be easy. By definition, it's hard. Hard climbing is hard. It will always be hard. If you want climbing to feel easy, then do things that are easy for you. Just don't expect to get to claim anything hard. Hard is hard. I'm not sure why that's so difficult for some people to understand, but trust me, it is difficult for some people to understand. Now, I know that there are some of you sitting there all smug, like, see, I knew not training was a good idea, but that's missing the point. Not to mention, not all preparation involves training. Even the people who refuse to train sometimes fall into this category. They've put tons of effort into having all of the right gear and planning the trip and communicating with partners and memorizing the guidebook. And then they show up, they give a good effort until the first sign of discomfort, then they back off. When you see gear for sale on Facebook Marketplace that says never fallen on, that's those people. Now let's take a look at the pros and cons of putting all of your effort into the performance. The first positive is that you're learning to try hard when it matters the most. It's going to be a massive benefit to short trips or if you're a weekend warrior, and inevitably, you're going to be able to add more check marks in your guidebook or your journal. Getting more things done means you get to climb on more rock climbs and learn more about what those different climbs have to offer and challenge you with. That's by far the best way to improve. And learning how to try really hard when performing is the key to making sure that any of what you can do in training or practice can transfer to the performance environment. And this quality is usually harder to teach than how to strength train. So putting in this time now will be massive for your climbing. But it often leads to this idea that training is unnecessary because we're already getting things done without it. Which is sad because you stand to make the fastest and most palpable gains from training. Without training, it's going to be incredibly hard to get anywhere near your potential, particularly if you don't have unlimited time to try hard rock climbs outside. If you're a weekend warrior and you only put effort into the performance, then you're leaving a lot on the table, including the variety of movement and puzzle solving that's so important to becoming a better climber. I mean, it's undeniable that you can get a lot more opportunities to solve challenging new puzzles in a 1-hour gym session than you might get in 4 or 5 days outside in most climbing areas. And particularly as you get older, the repetition of climbing alone is going to be tough on your body. Putting effort into preparation, when done in a smart way, is the best way to stay healthy and in this game for a long time. But like I said at the beginning of this video, the absolute best climbers always fit into this final category: equal attention and effort to both preparation and performance. And this goes for damn near all of time. Wolfgang Gulish, Jerry Moffitt, Lynn Hill, Ben Moon, Adam Ondra, Janja Garnbret, Brooke Rabatou, etc., etc., all famous for their training and or their indoor climbing, as well as their outdoor achievements. I mean, even if we look at the people famous for supposedly not training, like Fred Nicole and Chris Sharma, it's easy to show that they approach their extreme amount of climbing time very much like preparation for other big goals. They stay focused on improving. That's often missed when these athletes are used as the linchpin of some argument not to train. And let's be clear here. If you're going to focus on only one thing, preparation or performance, far more likely to improve and get things done by focusing on performance. The data we've collected from over 800 climbers is very clear that time spent climbing outside has a higher correlation to climbing harder than any other metric we've measured, including finger strength. So if focusing on preparation led to the same results, we'd see far more people who don't need as much time outside to get the same results, particularly in a data set that skews toward people interested in training. But that's not what we see. And whether or not there are outliers that reach high levels of climbing, without combining the two approaches, the upsides of putting equal effort into both preparation and performance are pretty clear. When you show up to try a harder thing, you're better prepared. You have more confidence because you have more skills. The level doesn't really matter, V2 to V12 and 5.9 to 5.15 and beyond. If you show up having prepared and can then channel your effort into the performance, you will absolutely send more things and you'll be able to do it for longer. But sadly, it's not quite as easy as just saying, okay, then I'm in, equal time and effort. Because not all of us have that unlimited time and energy to apply to both aspects. Now that seems like a downside, that to do this we have to forego so many other things and that we have to be selfish with our time. And there's certainly some truth to that. Here's the thing though. No matter how much time you have, or what your goals are, you'll get bigger returns on your investment if you're smart about when, where, and how you apply the most effort. You can still put high effort into your preparation even if it's only a small amount of time, or you can put high effort into select performances instead of going hard all the time. In fact, that's a key part of giving appropriate effort. Now here's how to do it. Step 1. Determine where you're putting the most effort and where you're missing opportunities. In my recent video, Is Working on Weaknesses Holding Climbers Back?, I discussed the Pareto principle, the idea that 80% of consequences come from 20% of actions. So when applied to improving at climbing, 80% of our gains come from 20% of our work. And if you take some time to interrogate your climbing, you'll see how this plays out. And I'm not saying that you have to trash everything that's not showing some big gains. But if some of the things providing only marginal returns, or even none at all, are things you really enjoy, then fine, keep them. But if you're being honest, I bet you could get rid of a lot of the things taking up your time and have more to put toward better investments. Smarter training, or building better partnerships, or choosing better mini projects that will build toward future mega projects. Step 2. Figure out how to change those things one at a time. And be smart about the steps that you're taking. Now, a surefire way to fail is to try to change everything at once. We want to build habits and make systemic changes, not just apply a band-aid that's going to fall off in a few days. So choose one area to work on and put time into it, however long is needed for that to become ingrained, and only then start on the next one. I know this is easier said than done. We're working on building tools that can help you with every step of this. But for now, here are a few ways to get started with your own self-analysis. If you focus your effort on preparation and it's performance you need to improve, then my free Try Harder toolkit should be your first stop. It'll help you learn to channel and regulate your effort for hard climbs. It's a 1-hour video series that will give you all sorts of tools to work with, evidence-informed as well as my own experiences. And if you enjoy my videos on YouTube, you'll love this toolkit. The link is in the description. And if you feel like you can improve your climbing movement, I've built a game-changing analysis tool, the Atomic Elements of Climbing Movement, that can help you decide not only where to put your energy, but also how to do that more effectively. That link is also in the description. And last but not least, we've collected physical data from over 800 climbers. So if you want to see where your metrics stack up against other climbers who are already at your goal level, you can do that at the link in the description as well. We're working on compiling all of this data into a tool that will be useful for you to use over and over again. Stay tuned for that. And finally, step 3, reassess at least once a year. Can't stress this enough. Goals change. We inadvertently fall into bad habits. We get psyched on new things. Our available time changes and life happens. So continuing to just steamroll down the same path isn't the way to go. We have to change where we put effort if we want to keep progressing. So reassess. Now, all of the tools that we're making are yours forever, including updates that get made over time. So use them regularly to determine if you're still on that path, the one that makes the most sense for you. Thanks for watching or listening. In the show notes, you'll find related links, videos, and episodes, as well as how you can subscribe to our monthly newsletter, The Current, where we connect the dots to help climbers learn, grow, and excel.